I always felt like it was interesting the relationship between the black youth and hip hop, right? So when I was a shorty, I remember Lil Wayne being the hottest rapper out. Every nigga at school grew his hair out. Everybody wanted to have dreads, whether it was the tattoos we was running to get, whether we was running to the vape store, we was trying to get some red monkeys, Evisus, whatever it is, right? Even when we got older, the first time I went to a gun shop, I just had to have a Glock because that's all niggas was rapping about. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the way that hip hop influences the youth don't just stop at fashion and different ways of life that we have. It also goes into how we view men and women, how we view romance, how we view relationships. In 1993, Eazy-E dropped a song and he said the phrase "money over bitches."
Yeah.
And that phrase lit hip hop on fire. And when he lit that torch, it spread in a lot of different directions. You know, you had Tupac running with "Money Over Bitches." It went from Tupac to Jay-Z, from Jay-Z to Lil Wayne, on the Future. And right now that the ladies is taking over hip hop, you hearing a lot of the same sentiment in their music. The phrase "money over bitches" to me is just saying that, hey, my financial success and my financial well-being is more important than my love for you. That's what we're telling women when we say money over bitches. And now that women is taking over hip hop, their sentiment's not that different when they say real ass bitch, give a fuck about a nigga, big Birkin bag, 5-6 figures. It's the same thing. And it's like, damn, who taught them that? You know, so my question to y'all today is, how much has hip hop influenced black culture's capacity for romantic relationships?
If you lazy, you waking up at fucking 3 o'clock in the afternoon and shit like that,
Popping bottles,
you're setting the tone for everybody because you're the leader.
popping pills,
That's just what comes with being a man.
popping bitch ass niggas.
I don't want nobody making decisions over my life except me. Not a woman, not a judge, not an officer, not no motherfucking body.
When them bullets hit him up, look like son had a seizure. Run up, give it up, you know the procedure. I be sipping Jack and honey.
I don't think nothing can make me feel like a man. I don't think nothing can make me not feel like a man.
Chains on my collar.
You can't take the benefits of being a man without the responsibilities.
Give you niggas halos on God in the cake.
All right, welcome back to Roses I Did. I'm Terry Roseland.
I'm Jones.
And we got a guest today, man.
We got a best.
We got a guest. We got a guest that's a songwriter, rapper, actor. You know what I'm saying? We was just watching bro last night on Bel Air, you know. And most of all, a nigga from Chicago. Like, Chicago nigga. Like that's what's the most important in this shit, right? Big Mensa, man. What's going on, bro?
What's going on with y'all, man? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us, man. Thank you for
100%.
sliding to the show. Absolutely. So before we jump into anything, man, how y'all brothers doing, man? How's y'all week? Highs and lows from the week. What's up?
Man, I just got back from my homie wedding. She was beautiful. I was the best man. Yeah, I cried.
So he went on no money over bitches, so he wouldn't get married.
He's fuck all that. Nah.
Yeah.
He said, I need my woman.
For sure.
He's a smart man. But that weekend was it was dope. You know?
Why was you crying for his girl though?
I didn't stop saying that.
I'm just curious. Like if my girl coming down the aisle and the best man cry, I'm looking back like, bro, get off that Tay Diggs shit, bro. Like, why you crying for my lady?
I was crying for him.
Right.
I know that nigga. Been over for 10 years. Niggas done took a lot of L's and some wins. And to make it to the altar, the shit was beautiful. I'm like, yeah, man, one day. Yeah, yeah. Sure. But it was beautiful because I look at marriage like when a couple is getting married, you getting ready to go under the protection of the covenant of God. Like y'all about to make a covenant with you, lady, and God, and it's just like it's just another level of intimacy. It's another level of understanding. I feel like, you know, when you marry the right partner, like your life can change in an amazing way. So that was just the main thing that was dope to me.
Absolutely.
And then, one thing, what you call it? The fucking resort liquor. We all know it's shit. But after this trip, I'm like, okay, I'm getting older. It took me 3 days to recover coming home. 3 days. My stomach bubbling and shit.
Probably getting healthier too. It's probably because you've been living so healthy the last couple years.
It really, like my body, my body said, how you go from drinking a gallon of water a day to a gallon of tequila a day for the last 3 days. I was fucked up.
You used to drink a gallon of Saveca though, so you know.
That was like in 2009 though.
For sure.
That's crazy.
You want to fuck with this Rebecca?
I was finna say.
I mean, I was fucking with all that shit.
It was some
That
days.
shit was crazy.
He looked like a
Paul Masson?
Amsterdam. Nah, he was on Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, no, I ain't drink that shit, but I did drink the bumpy face though.
What's that?
What's the Seagram's?
Seagram's. Seagram's apple vodka was my first drink I ever took.
Niggas was drinking gin straight.
Crazy shit, gin straight. Man. I don't even drink no more. But man, I just came back from this psychedelic retreat in Tulum, so my week was a vibe.
Okay.
That sound interesting.
It was ill. It was like my homie. She has a mushroom company. She's been early with it too,
right.
Like high level, bespoke cultivation of mushrooms, strains and shit that I never heard of before I met her, honestly. And she's a part of this psychedelic retreat in Tulum where they built a hotel in the jungle and they do like plant medicine ceremonies in that bitch, you know? So I went down, I was drinking peyote in the jungle and shit. And like,
That sounds fly.
Drinking peyote?
yeah, peyote.
What's peyote?
That sounds fly.
He gonna drop that on us like we know what peyote. You know damn well we don't know what peyote is.
Peyote is a Mesoamerican plant medicine, like psychedelic substance akin to mushrooms or ayahuasca, or you know, I guess like a naturally occurrent MDMA or something like that.
It sounds like you gotta have a teaspoon of that shit. Like it's potent as fuck.
You gotta drink a lot of that shit actually, which is why peyote was very difficult. Because you gotta drink mad cups. It's so gross. You throwing up.
Damn.
You know what I mean? But it brings you ultimately to like outstanding revelation. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like, you know, trial by fire. Like you gotta experience the pain to get the, you know, the joy out of it.
Oh, that's
You know
good.
what it sound like? I think I heard Mike Tyson on Hot Boxing with Mike talk about that, that
Exactly.
same resort.
That's
That's where
what
he
I
was.
was-
That's where he was at.
No. But I talked to Mike Tyson about this shit when I was on there with him, because Mike Tyson be on the same,
Yeah.
be on the same shit. Like I be on all that psychedelic medicine, just like, plant medicine shit that Mike Tyson be on. Like one that we both did was called Bufo. It's a toad. This shit sound crazy, especially saying it on 79th Street. It's like you say this shit in LA, motherfuckers be like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that." You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
We like,
yeah.
damn.
You be on the
I heard it from Mike.
No, it's the toad. They call it the toad. You know what I mean? So it's a naturally occurrent 5-MeO DMT, and it's a toad secretion that you smoke through a little pipe, and you just blast off the earth, and like shit helped Mike Tyson overcome. I think he was like cocaine addiction, and things like that at the time. I mean, I got a long history of addiction, and just like deep healing, like mental health, childhood trauma, generational trauma. Like when I did the toad, that shit was so crazy because it was my second time, so I was more prepared. So I went into it like repeating in my mind, I'm releasing myself from fear. And 15 seconds, it's cascading, unstoppable, like psychedelic experience. And ultimately I had this conversation with my grandmother, and she was telling me I inherited my fear from her. And she said, how could you not? We were enslaved. You know what I'm saying? That was such a revelation for me, because my father's from Africa, you know, and my mom is white. So the idea of generational trauma has always felt different for me. You know what I'm saying? Just like different from chattel slavery. But ultimately, man, we one people. Like that shit happened to us. It happened to us. You know what I'm saying? And so when she had that conversation with me, and she was like, yeah, you inherited fear from me. We were enslaved and we were colonized. But don't be guided by my fear. Be guided by my love. And that shit was ill. I was with this like shaman in
That's crazy.
LA.
That shit sounds fly.
It was fire.
It just sounds a little scary to me.
It's
do, it
definitely
do.
scary.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
But it does sound fly for you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Rick, you turn that to us a little bit. Is his value, his volume still straight on the mic? Okay, cool. right, man. So I said y'all niggas didn't have no lows for the week. You was in
I had a low, but
y'all both was in Mexico. You was crying. You was getting high.
You was in Mexico for.
You was probably crying too.
Yeah.
All right.
I probably was crying a little bit, no doubt.
Yeah.
Ain't wrong with it.
So for me, man, my high for the week, I just got a hat. That's all. I just got a new hat.
I hate to notice like niggas new clothes. Like,
Yeah.
What you doing with something new type shit?
Niggas can have new hats around here. Nah, man, this is a brand I stand by, man. Pure Winds. They blessed me with one of their newer hats. You know what I'm saying? It's a great story behind the brand. I can't wait till the owner of the brand come on the show to tell his story. No spoiler alert. I'm not gonna tell a story, but this is a great brand making quality products. So Pure Winds. Follow them on Instagram.
Don't walk through South Central wearing that motherfucker.
What happened to South Central? You can't wear a P hat.
No, sir.
Okay.
They on your ass, boy.
So any of our LA, California
like pirates,
people don't buy the hat.
It'd be crazy though, cause niggas from Chicago, we go out there like I went to LA one time. I used to live in LA. I'd be back and forth a lot, but like, I'd be in Chicago. We don't think about colors and game. Like niggas ain't thought about that shit since like 7th grade. You know
for sure.
Like, so I went to LA during the pandemic, and I had been wearing bandanas as face masks, because shit, you had to always have a mask on in the pandemic, whatever. I was trying to still be kind of flea.
Exactly.
The medical joints weren't getting there.
Nah, the medical joint wasn't hitting, you feel me? So I'm wearing a bandana. Ooh, I get to the party. I'm in LA, some party in the hills. I'm not even really thinking about it. Now, mind you, the bandana is red, and but I'm in the hills, I come in the party. I don't know, it felt like the music stopped the moment I got in that bitch. Niggas looking at me so crazy. A nigga walk up to me. This is how kind of aloof I was at that moment, because I was dealing with the little broad, and I'm, the nigga like, man, he like, where you from? You know what I'm saying? But I didn't take it like a LA, like, where you from?
Yeah.
I thought it like, literally like, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Right. Motherfucker like, nah, where are you from? You know what I'm saying? I turned, and I pulled my mask off, and it was OT Genesis.
Damn.
Now, they just happened to be Crips. I wasn't really aware of this. He was like, oh my God, thank God it's you. I thought you was coming in this bitch trying to blow this bitch down. Damn, y'all really take this shit seriously.
Niggas ended the party.
Yeah. They gang banging different over there. You know my nigga 4 Extra, bro? Like, that's my nigga. I be on the TikTok rabbit hole looking at the nigga 4 Extra videos. That shit is hilarious, bro.
He your nigga, and he still going with that fade.
For sure. Absolutely. But yeah, man, other than that, let's get into the topic. Let's get directly into the topic, man.
Hip-hop influencing Black culture's capacity for romantic relationship. Man, I think a lot about this shit because I feel hip-hop is often made a scapegoat for many of the issues in not only Black culture, but American culture. And is the linchpin for violence.
For sure.
I started to do some thinking, and I was looking through other forms of media, American media. I'm looking through the most successful film franchises of all time. Things like James Bond, like
Rambo,
Lord of the Rings, Rambo, all violent shit.
All violent.
You know what I mean?
Scarface.
Video games, like the successful video games.
Grand Theft Auto.
All violent shit. But you never really hear the film industry or the video game industry, maybe to a small degree, but not in the same way that hip hop is targeted as being, this is the reason why the streets is so violent. It's like, man, this shit is as American as apple pie Monday Night Football.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like this is a place founded on violence. And I think as that pertains to like hip hop's influence on romantic relationships, shit gets tricky because on one hand, the Black experience is so inseparable from the reality of slavery, you know what I mean? And the reality of men and women being uprooted, pitted against each other, a man's ability to provide for his family being denied, a man's agency being denied, then slavery is abolished. Only women can really get work working in white households. So men start to turn to other avenues of fulfilling their need for masculinity and to provide. And like, yeah, this shit has been torn to shreds. But then I think the question I land on that I'll throw back to you is like, what is the delineation of responsibility between environmental factors and personal agency? You know, it's like the environment has influenced the way we interact with each other entirely. But at what point do we, as like human beings with access to information, you know, regardless of the circumstances, at what point is it on us to be like, we're gonna craft a better path, a better narrative, you know?
Yeah. It's always gonna be that 15 to 20% of people that's able to do that, while the other 80% is gonna follow whatever's put in front of them. Yeah, that's just we know that. So I think that the thing is, hip hop as an art form is always gonna be innocent. Like it's not creating itself, right? And I think regardless of, let's say it's dreadlocks, tattoos. When Wiz Khalifa came, we wanted to be tatted head to toe. When Wayne came with it, so it's like this thing might exist in a certain part of the country. But when someone from that part of the country becomes a superstar, it perpetuates throughout the country as far as with the black youth. And it could be something as innocent as dreadlocks or tattoos, but when it comes to violence, it's like they tried to make Chief Keef the poster child for violence. That nigga didn't invent violence. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that nigga grew up in a violent environment, and he, you know what I'm saying? He made songs, he expressed what he saw, what already existed, what he grew up in before he ever decided to do anything. This was happening. Yeah. In turn, he's, you know what I'm saying, he blows up, and it may make the younger, you know what I'm saying, generation look at it and say, oh damn, I want to do that. I want to be that. Is that his fault? Is that hip hop's fault? Not really. It's just a situation where these things already exist, and hip hop is an art form. It puts people in position, but at the same time, there's positive things that come from it as well. You know what I'm saying?
With him being in the like, when somebody like that blows up, whether it's Chief Keef, whether it's what's the old boy from New York who we threw his hat in the air, not Pop. Bobby, whoever it is. When somebody from that neighborhood who grew up in them circumstances, when they blow up and it's like, okay, they're influencing the kids, and now the kids want to be like them. I don't think it's necessarily like the exterior. This person just made it, and now they're successful and rich. That's a big part of what they're seeing. And so, okay, they're internalizing, I want to be successful and rich too. I come from where he come from. I'm gonna just be like that as well.
Yeah, it's the playbook,
right? Yeah. It's a playbook. He laid the success leave clues. So when somebody, when we keep putting people on like that and making them superstars, we basically telling the shorties that you can make it out with this. You can be like this and win on this type of level.
I think it's just like it's tapping into primal human desire stuff, you know, and that's like, as men, like. Shit, we just met. The first thing we start talking about is, oh yeah, when you kick a nigga knee,
violence.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
why did that to come out?
Like, we're human beings, man. Like, men, we have a propensity for violence. You know what I mean? And oftentimes, you know, in many societies, our culture is 1,000% is one of them. Is like, your value is determined in a certain sense by your capacity for violence. Yeah. So it's tough, man. But I also was thinking about this, and I was thinking about this video I saw, like a sociologist speaking, circulating right now. And he's saying that there's never been a culture in the history of mankind that has excelled without strong family units.
For sure.
And that the black marriage rate is like tanking. Yeah. Compared to all the other racial groups that he, you know, dove into. Obviously, white Americans, Hispanics, Asians, I think were the groups that he compared it to. And like the marriage rate for our community is sinking, you know, and it's impossible to build wealth as a group
for real
without family units. That's why I think it's like, it's not that hip hop takes the responsibility for that, because I'm placing the onus on mass incarceration, certainly.
For sure.
Stripping fathers out of families for generations by the millions, extension of slavery, all that. But I also think hip hop as our mode of communication, our primary method of communication, holds the responsibility from those who feel it to perpetuate other realities, you know what I mean? To perpetuate, to push love, you know what I mean? Like to love on women publicly and openly and vulnerably and honestly in our music, man, because, and vice versa, because the opposite exists so much. We've seen so much of it. And sometimes when you're writing raps, it comes to you just because that's the cliche of it, man. Fuck this bitch, this, that, and the third.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But what man doesn't love a woman in his life? I mean, what man doesn't love a woman in his life?
For sure.
But you don't hear it much in hip hop because it's like, it's cliche or seen as weakness, or like you said, isn't what's been shown as a key to success, you know? Maybe in modern times.
Yeah, so I think hip hop can only reflect what already exists. It's just a reflection of something that already existed. You know, it's not creating a new problem or anything like that. But I think also for you to hear a rap song and it be negative or positive, whatever it is, and you kind of hold on to what you heard in that song and apply it to your life, some part of that has to already exist in your life. If I live in a super safe suburb and I'm listening to drill music, I'm not finna pick up a gun, like go do some shit. But if I live in a hood and I'm already dealing with shit like this, you know what I'm saying? This is kind of enticing me to deal with it in a different way. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think that's any different than if I just got my heart broke in high school for the first time and I'm hearing a nigga say, man, money over bitches, fuck these hoes. That's exactly what I needed. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what I needed. Or a girl you know, she liked this dude, he fucked her, stopped talking to her. He liked this dude, you know, all this shit went wrong. And then city girls come and say, well, shit, fuck these niggas anyway, dude. So I think that, you know, I think that's where it becomes like an issue. And the thing is, it's like, it's all about what's being pushed on the mainstream, right? Because all of this shit always existed. None of this shit is new. When we talk about like, oh, you know, music's too sexual, it's kind of like, nigga, 3 6 Mafia was wilding. Nigga, Trina was wilding. Like, I think the difference is we had to go get them tapes and listen to them in the basement on some sneak shit. And we knew this shit was wild. And we had to stay up to watch BET Uncut. And we knew this shit was wild because we was sneaking to do it.
With your finger on
now,
blast.
They on a radio at 9 a.m. dropping my kid off talking about some wet ass pussy. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I think that's the difference right now, you know?
And I didn't expand on like the original question, like the influence of hip hop on like relationships.
Go crazy.
So on a positive note, so like hip hop obviously has the influence, and I'm gonna break down how it trickled down. So hip hop is mainstream, it's on TV and everything like that. And how hip hop influenced relationships is you seeing how what we talked about, like you see like the power couples, you know what I'm saying? From like the power couples from back in the day. Jay-Z and Beyonce, of course. What's some other power couples from back then?
And black culture, not more so hip hop, but like Will and Jada was always one.
Yeah. So with the rap, I'm gonna stick with hip hop with Jay-Z and Beyonce. It's like, what was Jay-Z? Jay-Z was a hood nigga at first. Right. You know what I'm saying? So the closest thing to get to that and was the hood niggas back home. Yeah. But the thing was that the women was started to be attracted to the D-boys. Yeah. Like the average nigga, you don't get qualified as to be like a power couple. Right. So when you see a guy like Jay-Z or the guy that's in the hood that's getting the women, or not even all the women, but has that power and has that financial strength, and he's getting, you know, the better pick, you know what I'm saying, the women that you want. I feel like that's how it showed up in a positive way, kind of, because it made you want to glow up, but maybe in a negative way, just so you could get, you know, a decent look.
It made you want to sell dope so you could get a bad bitch.
Basically.
So many words.
It's so many words. How it was positive. Deep down, all you want to do is get money and provide for your lady.
I said this on the show before, and I say it all the time. This is a real reality for me, bro. When I was in 7th grade, I transferred into public school. you had to be a tough nigga. Tough was cool. There was no way around it. The only niggas who got a pass for not being tough was a hooper. Like, you was hooping, you was dribbling that ball, you was good to walk up the block. Other than that, if you wasn't a tough nigga, R. Kelly had braids, everybody was a thug. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at that time, right? I swear to God, when Kanye West came out, it was like, I was like, cool all of a sudden. Niggas was looking at me like, oh, he cool, that's Terry doing this. It was a lane for regular niggas. If you dress kind of decent, it's like, he just a fly nigga. Like, he cool, that's it. Like, that was for the first time though. So it just, I just say that to show that like how hip hop, like, it really dictates what's cool and what's not. You know what I'm saying? And it's just pros and cons to that on every side.
I think men and women know, man, we gotta break free of the negative programming we receive from hip hop.
For sure.
Mistrust of each other. You know what I mean? Like, hatred that we spew towards each other, black men and black women, like, we literally need each other. And I was having this conversation with my girl on the way back from Mexico about hip hop's influence on black relationships. And, you know, she was telling me the perspective of why women feel like, oh, I don't need no nigga, you know. Because black men have often been black women's primary oppressor. Black men have externalized the oppression we've received and internalized onto the closest person in proximity to us, our women. That's the reality of the situation. So it makes sense to me that black women would adopt a doctrine of, I don't need a nigga, because they've experienced so much abuse at the hands of black men. But at the same time, I was trying to talk to my girl about was like, that does not change the elemental reality of humanity, that a woman needs a man. Absolutely. And a man needs a woman in order for this species to continue. It's just a basic fact. We live in this Babylon America with all these societal factors and all this history and trauma we've experienced. But we existed as human beings, as a species, for hundreds of thousands of years before this shit. Yeah. The reality of our fucking existence. We need each other. So all this music that is trying to convince a man that he just needs money, he doesn't need a woman, it's false. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not going to take us collectively anywhere. Women trying to convince themselves, I don't need no nigga, I got my own, this, that, and the third. Okay, then create another generation. For sure. By yourself. For sure. Show me how you jump in the air and stay there. You feel me? Like, show me how we gonna move, we gonna get forward. Show me how we gonna get free without each other.
Absolutely.
I feel like we can change it. Would y'all agree that women amplify whatever you give them?
I always say if you want something to grow, surround it with women. So for sure, like, so they just nurture it. So they gon'
right. Whatever you give them, they'll water it. They'll make you grow it. They're gonna amplify it. So when hip hop is saying, like you say, fuck money over bitches and all of that, the only way that it'll change is like, as the men and leaders, we would have to change the narrative, because ultimately they're just mirroring us.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? If whatever we saying, they following. So if we're degrading them, it's natural for them to even put 10 times on top of it.
100%. I get where you coming from now.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. You say something,
but
to
if
her,
we,
she gonna turn clean.
It's gonna be way worse, man. And we can't handle that shit.
And when you say we can't handle it, I think that's a big part of what we see right now, right? Like when you say, when niggas is like mad at Sexy Red and mad at Meg Thee Stallion, all she do is twerk. Ooh. Nobody had a problem when Nelly was swiping credit cards through chicks' asses on BET. Everybody was cool with the twerking. When we was in Big Pimpin', pouring champagne on chicks' head,
it was crazy.
You feel me? Like,
but it wasn't like niggas wasn't mad about it.
Niggas wasn't there. Nigga, you ain't hear all of this shit.
I feel like CNN was mad about it. NBC, you know what I mean? White people was mad about that shit. And women, of course. Shit.
Well, I'm saying now you seeing men with think pieces on Twitter like, these women is just terrible. It's like, bro, like, you a top subscriber on OnlyFans. Stop fucking playing, bro. Like, stop it, bro.
No, I mean, they not doing nothing that ain't been done. You know, they're not doing nothing that ain't been done to them.
I think it's just the difference is that they not shaking ass for a man. It was cool when like they didn't have a voice and it was like you shaking ass next to Nelly. But now when you got the mic and you shaking ass saying fuck me, then it's like, damn, nah, you got like, this shit gotta stop.
I just think that, you know, as people with a voice and people with influence in this culture.
Yeah.
That, yeah, it's our responsibility to uphold alternative narratives, like a Rhapsody, you know?
Yeah.
Somebody that's really just dumb nice, you know, Rhapsody, Tierra Whack, like somebody Dreezy, like female rappers that are just actually about the craft and the skill, you know what I mean? I think that it's important to uphold them and to praise them, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how we change things, honestly. It's not that it doesn't exist. There's so many women that are talking about so much more than their bodies and so much more than what they have to offer sexually. They're just not platformed in the same way.
Exactly.
And so it's like, it's kind of up to us to choose, first of all, where we place our energy. I think that's the difficult part for me. It's like a lot of us, you know, we have a woke like disposition internally, but like shit, we still want to have fun, you know.
For sure.
It's like so
balance.
So we ultimately end up just supporting the shit that negatively impacts in every single way that we talking about, because it's fun, you know.
For sure.
And the thing we was talking about is entertaining.
It's entertainment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's entertainment.
And we're also not as easily molded as we used to be, like at our age, right? So like when the new influx of what's happening right now in hip hop came, it's like that shit not really molding us and changing how we move through our regular life as much as if we was 15 right now. Hearing this shit, it'll be a little bit different. You know what I'm saying?
The media platforms, to go back to what you were saying, as far as we got to highlight, you know what I'm saying, the women that's really respecting the craft, they're not talking about their bodies, and you know, they nice like that, right?
And maybe they do talk about their body, but it's not the fucking.
But it's not like
it's not the basis of everything.
It's not a Meg Thee
to
Stallion.
say.
You know what I'm saying? It's not, you know, the twerking
It's actually
crazy.
nice though. Meg Thee Stallion is a
Meg
great
Stallion
artist,
nice.
bro.
She rap wise, yeah.
Lotto nice. A lot of them
Lotto
actually
cold.
can rap.
I really like Lotto.
They can rap. A lot of them can rap.
For real, they can actually rap.
Those
They
can
write
rap.
their raps.
Yeah.
You know?
But like what's being put on the media is like the twerking. That's what's being like the romanticized. They are marketing the bodies, and it's like visually
selling.
That's what's selling. And
It ain't
visually,
no
you
different from
distracted.
It's crazy because it ain't no different from how drilling is selling. I was thinking about this, you know, with some of the recent legal controversies that artists have been having. And even if one artist catches a RICO or, God forbid, gets sentenced to some lengthy period in prison, it's the lottery. So just because everybody doesn't win the lottery, that won't dissuade young niggas from going to play the lottery. I've learned that by putting my lottery ticket in the game of killing niggas and talking about it on record, if I get away with it, I'm getting on. You know what I mean? And just because a couple niggas might get sent away, it's not going to be enough to dissuade the fact that I've seen the clues to the success. It's the same with women that, you know, see the BBL and the plastic surgery and the twerking, all the songs about fuck niggas, scamming, sex. I mean, they see it succeed, you know? They see it succeed enough times, and people want to elevate, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
You know who a nigga who took a totally different lane, don't rap like nobody, and is winning?
Who that?
Lil Russell.
I like Lil Russell.
He definitely started some shit, and just his whole path. I feel like that's a positive influence, but I also feel like it's not enough to influence the masses of up and coming rappers to not choose the drill path.
Yeah, I'm even thinking about the reaction from a lot of people when Chance dropped the record after he had just got married, or you know, was talking about his wife a lot in the record, and it was just like niggas was like tripping on that. It was just like, what the fuck? We can't do that. We can't talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to be Jay-Z and Beyonce to say I love my girl. Like, this is crazy, you know? So
when did it become not cool to be in love, man?
Let's talk about R&B.
Let's talk about it.
Because
let's talk about it.
When you just said it's not cool to be in love, right? There's a
yeah.
lot of people like, man, they not begging no more like they used to. You know what I'm saying? A lot of R&B.
They not doing this.
And it's a lot of it I like, right? Like there was no bigger Weeknd fan than me when he dropped. And the shit that he was saying was crazy. You feel me? But I was also crashing out over a chick at the time. Like I was hurt. I needed that. Like I was just saying, like I needed that. You feel me? But I see like this the new wave of R&B isn't as just about love no more. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of artists out there who like it's kind of like rap. It's kind of like
just rap.
Yeah.
Ever since
It's
these hoes
a softer.
That's the one that changed it.
I won't say that that's necessarily the one that changed it, but that was when it dawned on me. I was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, R&B is rap.
We not in love
These
no more,
hoes ain't
guys.
loyal, you know what I mean?
R&B now, they you just sexualizing women a lot.
I wrote that song too, man.
Yeah,
That was
R&B. What song?
Outside.
Oh, yeah, that
One of
nigga.
the fucking
He
greatest
He's cold.
talents of this goddamn generation by far. You know? And Ty Dolla $ign is like, man, he talk about everything we talking about. But it sounds so good. It sounds so fucking good. And I think that, you know, the fucking reality of it is that, man, niggas is human beings, you know what I'm saying? And come from the circumstances that they come from, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you got a guy like Ty Dolla $ign who makes all different kinds of music, you know what I'm saying? It's not just ratchet music that he does. I mean, he's honestly like a modern day fucking Gap band or
I don't see him as ratchet. Like his music type, I don't even see like the ratchet part.
Ty
For real.
Dolla is ratchet, gang.
you speaking like you know, like you.
I feel like
dude, that's
I feel like
my
I need
nigga.
some.
That's
I
a-
feel
that
like I
nigga
gotta do
is-
some more homework.
That nigga is a outstanding proponent of ratchet culture. His first song was called My Cabana, and it was My Cabana. My cabana, how many hoes? How many hoes? Hoes! I was like, this nigga too cold. No way he just sang hoes like that. Phone them. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, shit, he coming from where he come from. You know what I mean? He come with the perspective that he coming with. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, R&B is a different landscape than it was.
It's in a different space.
When I be in Africa, man, that's when I really start to kind of reflect on the messages in our music oftentimes, because Afrobeats music, interestingly, although it borrows so many things from hip hop, like all the swag, the style, the, you know, a lot of the lingo, and its messaging is like so loving though. It's like so sweet and so loving, and like it's all like, I love you, I want to be with you for the rest of my life. Every day I think about you. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how R&B like used to be or something.
I don't be listening to it.
Afrobeats?
Yeah, no.
Afrobeats is amazing.
Afrobeats hard.
It's amazing music, and it's music of the light, you know, which is I think just very different from our music at the moment. Is
You been
it's
to a
largely
concert
music
in
the
Africa?
dark.
You been to like a concert in Africa?
Yeah, I mean, I'm Ghanaian. I'm from Africa, so
Sure.
I held a huge music festival in Africa, in Ghana. Like,
How would you compare it to
2023.
the U.S.? Like if a music event or festival out there versus out here, the crowd, the music.
I mean,
what's
our
the difference?
festival was a movie. You know
I wish
what
I
mean?
made that, bro. I miss
it was
when
like-
the next one?
Man, we working on the next one, figuring it out. You know, it's kind of like a supernova moment. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things lined up for it to play out how it did. But I think like the purpose that I came from when I first had that concept, actually, I was in South Africa, and I was just thinking about how, man, as Black artists, so few of us have had the opportunity to perform on the continent. You know what I'm saying? And I know there's so many people that would love to. Even in having a conversation with Andre 3000 one time, and I was telling him about what I was doing in Africa. He was like, man, I still never been. I'm like, I would have thought you were the most Afrocentric.
Nigga, that's
dude.
crazy.
You know, but the reality
I would've
is
never guessed that.
Like, societal pressures don't push you towards
Africa, yeah.
going to Africa. You know what I mean?
For
As a
sure.
Black person, it's like, it's far, it's expensive. They don't book people the same way.
Even as a
we can go to
citizen.
Cabo.
Yeah, it's like,
Even as a citizen, you got somebody with their
to get there,
bucket list where they want to
you know?
go. They Paris, Europe.
That's
people
because
rarely say
niggas been in Mexico 100 times.
Mexico right there, and it's cold. I ain't gonna lie. Mexico is
quick
that.
flight.
You know what I'm saying?
But
that was the impetus of doing the thing in Ghana, doing the Black Star Line Festival. So when I had brought Chance out there, and one night we was just like, cooling on the beach, and I had been, thinking about how I was gonna present this festival to him because I wanted him to partner with me on it. And man, I was on the beach in Ghana. I'm looking out into the ocean, and I'm just thinking about, man, what if our displacement from Africa and the 30, 50, 60 million of us that, sold into slavery, what if that shit was all a part of a master plan by God, to place us on each corner of the globe and make us the most culturally impactful force that the world has probably ever seen. You know what I mean? I'd be in Palestine and West Africa and Asia. They are emulating our culture on every corner of the planet,
Yeah.
And so when it came to thinking about this festival, it was like, man, how do we do something that unifies and reconnects those broken bonds, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those destroyed bridges, like build them back so we can learn from each other.
I gotta ask this because I feel like, and this is such a tangent, but I feel like people need to know because niggas be sleep on Garvey.
Gardening?
Marcus Garvey.
Oh.
What made y'all name it? What y'all named it?
Man, I mean, the Black Star Line was Marcus Garvey's shipping company that was intended to be the transatlantic ship with the black captain, to connect the United States to the Caribbean, to Africa. Yeah. And that was really the intention of the festival, was
For sure.
bringing people back to the land and vice versa.
Garvey was the coldest, bro, out of everybody. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love Martin, Malcolm, all that. A lot of our martyrs died broke. Garvey was on some, let's get this fucking bread.
Nigga.
Like, let's move around. Let's get back to Africa. Let's get, let's
mobilizing
do some.
millions of people.
Man, bro. Garvey was cold, bro.
That's
big.
No television. Really? I don't even think, because Marcus Garvey was what, like 1912?
Yeah, I listened to a speech from him. It was from 1900 something, and when I heard it sounded like he was talking about what we got going on right now. Talking about starting more black businesses and this, and I'm like, bro, it's a reason why he's not one of the people at the pinnacle of Black history, bro.
Yeah, I don't want you to know that story.
Man,
that was another part of the festival.
Bro.
It was like, okay, let's tell the actual stories, the stories that niggas need to know. And my thought process has always been like, if I push this now, from my vantage point, how will a kid who's 14, 15, peeping what I'm doing now when I'm 30, what the fuck will he be capable of when he's 30? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, because he already had an example to see this seed was planted. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know how it grows, but the seed was planted.
For sure. Let me ask y'all this, though. Name an artist or song that impacted you to behave a specific way in a relationship or romantically, whether it be positive or negative. I'm gonna let y'all go first. Mine is "Prostitute" by Lil Wayne, but go ahead. I'm gonna let y'all.
Damn.
I'm just fucking.
Positive or negative.
So it influenced you to be a trick.
Turn the whole into housewife.
Basically. And that she hit every man that you ever.
Damn.
What made the difference is that was way before me. And so this nigga wifing.
Hey, look.
Shout
out to Lil Wayne.
We listen, we don't judge.
We listen, we don't judge.
Okay. What is mine? A song that influenced me
to behave a certain. That's a great.
Well, it could have made you more romantic. You know what I'm saying? 808s and Heartbreaks was really my shit though. But it could have made you.
You know what?
Romantic. Could have made you, got you through a heartbreak, whatever.
You know what got me through a heartbreak?
What's that? Bow Wow, My System. I know.
Get your funny ass. Tory Lanez, Why Don't You Love Me?
Oh, cool. That's your theme song. That wasn't that long ago. That was like 2 years ago.
I think that was 17. I said a heartbreak. I didn't say but that song, it put me in it kind of like was detaching my feelings away from the situation to be a little bit more cold. in that season to act like I didn't care as much as I did.
Okay.
And like the verse, it was just hidden. Like he was telling a story, and that's how people get favorite artists. It depends on the season that you in and the time that you heard that music.
Yep.
And if it resonates that much, you internalize it, and now you feel like you know this artist, and just one song can make you that deep of a fan.
Well, niggas be mad. I be telling them King Louis in my top 10. I don't give a fuck. Like, that nigga had it when I was in Carbondale, nigga. Like, that nigga had it, bro. Like, nigga, B.O.N. dropped. It was a fucking rap, bro. Bands up, nigga, stop it.
Shout out to King Louis. King Louis
For
is
sure.
For real.
For sure.
I be talking to Louis about that shit. Like, Louis really, ain't gonna lie, Louis, drill pioneer.
Man.
Louis was the first video, because my man, Doughboy, Big Homie Doe, was his partner, his manager, artist partner. And I remember when Doe first played us, man, one of them Louis joints where it was like, I don't know, just 30 niggas out in the street in front of somebody's grandma's house. And I was like, this is the first time I've been scared by a music video. I was like, it was good.
These niggas look dangerous.
This shit look really dangerous. It's the first time I've been shook through a camera.
First Louis song I remember was What That Mouth Do. That
the main thing about Louis that's like a good memory is his marketing. I remember just seeing them crowns all over the city.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the first. Nobody had done that just yet.
Well, they might have. LEP was doing shit like that, but that was the one that stood out.
That was the one who stood out.
LEP phenomenal as well.
But the way he did that and just started to capture the city and that guerrilla marketing. You know, when a nigga get on
niggas
from
was
like
cold.
guerrilla, that shit is.
Real say, I'll put the motherfucking stickers up, nigga. He been locked there.
For sure.
But nah, absolutely. So you say Tory Lanez.
Tory Lanez, Why Don't You Love Me?
Okay.
I think like for me it'd probably be like Pharrell fronting.
Okay.
Shit just made me want to be a player.
That was that shit. That's still that shit.
Like I literally, when I lived in LA, at one of them times I built a half pipe in my backyard, you know, crazy mansion and all that shit, because I was trying to live the front end video in real life. You know what I mean? I was trying to be, you feel me?
Not the nigga say.
Straight player with my little skateboard and my ramp, you know. Nah, for real, I think it did influence me. Like,
what genre of music influenced y'all the most? Or, and when I say influence, not even influence, had the biggest impact on you?
But genre of music had to be rap for me.
Okay.
Absolutely.
definitely rap.
It had to be rap, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going R&B.
R&B influenced you the most?
Yeah.
That's why you be trying to fuck them chicks for the first time out the country. I ain't have to go there.
You had to go there.
I
Really listen. I liked hip hop so much, and I was like old school hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I actually didn't like hip hop at all at first, but once I got into it, then I was like on some like break dancing and doing graffiti. I was like, thought I was in the 90s for real. At that time, it was the 2000s.
No, nigga, it was 2005, bro.
Real talk. I thought I was in the absolute 90s in 05. I was breakdancing. I was spray painting, you know, DJing. But it was like, it was ill because I learned hip hop culture like through the ages because I started like at the beginning of it. You know what I mean? And like studied all that shit in the 90s and NWA, but then went back and studied like the samples that they used, the Jimmy Castor bunch and the James Brown joints. So hip hop, yeah, I mean hip hop influenced me in every fucking way, you know what I'm saying? And I think the positive and the negative, like I learned so much from hip hop. I would never paint hip hop as being like a inherently negative element because hip hop has been our fucking vessel, you know what I mean? Like hip hop enabled me to make a life and provide for my family. And hip hop taught me all the ill shit, you know? Not just like about myself and my place in the world, but like Kanye teaching you about like diamonds from Sierra Leone, you know what I mean? Lupe Fiasco talking about American terrorism, you know, Tupac being a gateway to learning about the Black Panther Party. Like, man, I learned so much from hip hop. But at the same time, I think I also learned how to be a player, like I was saying, and you know, the quality of violence too. Hip hop taught me those things as well. You know what I mean?
For sure. I think hip hop just allowed me to do a lot of things I already wanted to do because, like I said, it makes shit cool. So when Lil Wayne started talking about eating about pussy, I'm like, yes, I've been wanting to eat this pussy. I've been trying to eat some pussy, but I feel like
you ain't never lied. Though. I feel like Lil Wayne really did kick the door open for eating pussy. So by the time I was like, finally could get some pussy, I was ready to eat that shit.
Oh my God.
I was
God.
Like,
bro,
all bets are off. You feel me? Because Lil Wayne already said it's cool. You feel me?
For sure.
Ain't nobody going against what he said.
I feel like my answer to the original question, how much has hip hop influenced Black culture capacity to be romantic? Mm-hmm. I can't say how much. I can't put a number on it. But what I can say is that I think hip hop is just a megaphone. Anybody can pick it up and say whatever they want to say, and it's gonna reach the masses. So hip hop itself, it can be what it is and not affect, and you know what I'm saying, and not have a negative or positive effect. But if whoever picks that megaphone up, like hip hop gonna touch the whole world. You feel me? So,
but you got so many people that's trying to pick it up, and I feel like now more so the media, you know, controls who gets the microphone,
who gets to hold the megaphone.
Yeah, because you could probably be saying some shit that could push us forward, but nigga, we can't make no money off that.
Yeah, but
even the microphone, like,
whichever way it go, you can't blame the megaphone. You got to blame the nigga that's talking on it, the nigga who handed it to the nigga that's talking on it. Mm-hmm. But the megaphone itself is not inherently bad. You know what I'm saying?
You know, the power structure is white. Like they're making the money from this shit for real. Like we're getting paid individually, they're getting paid collectively. You know what I mean? You gotta know that.
For sure.
Them amplifying perpetuation of our worst tendencies is not coincidental. You know what I mean? Like they do that shit.
Do BET still got a white CEO? Or is it black now?
I don't know.
I'm not
even gonna lie to you.
Shout out to BET. I fuck with BET.
For sure.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, damn, okay.
That hurt.
Black entertainment television. Yeah, I understand. Not really.
That's just how that's how this should be, man.
Yeah.
It's since blues music, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. So you got A&P for us?
I do. So I was scrolling and I came across, I like when, you know, looking up definitions and shit. I came across the definition of tenacity. And it says unshakable focus and drive in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. Persistent forward momentum with a well thought out plan of action to never stop trying to achieve a goal even when all seems lost. And that just told me that while you after something, you're going to get distracted, you're going to get tempted, you're going to get thrown off, you're going to get tested. And if you have enough tenacity, you can fight through that resistance. And not everything, as you on your way to your goals, not everything that tries to throw you off is like the devil or like, oh, they don't know, people don't want me to win and everything like that. Like a voice just say, just a test. Mm-hmm. Like it's just a test, or that's a distraction. Like, don't worry about it. Keep moving. Keep going. Have enough tenacity to navigate through that shit, because if you have a well thought out plan, as long as you can see the end, that's enough encouragement to get through the roadblocks or whatever the case may be. But if you don't, you can get distracted. You can become a victim or adopt that victim mentality. Is it's the white man, it's the system, or it's this or that. Create that end goal. Mm-hmm. Begin with the end in mind, and you know what it looks like, and have the faith of whoever you believe in and get there, and deal with the distractions as you go along. And I just look at that right now. I'm dealing with like small oppositions or whatever. And I had a realization, I'm like, okay, I'm being tested right now. This is a distraction. Fragile. Fuck that shit. And keep going, man. Have the tenacity to go after whatever it is you're going after.
Absolutely, absolutely. My advice for boy moms today, listen, man. We talking about hip hop. We talking about, you know, all the good and bad and things like that comes from hip hop, right? And hip hop is an input when you're thinking about your child. Hip hop music, R&B music, all types of music, YouTube, TV, all these things are just different inputs. And your input, it does determine your output. What are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you eating? What are you consuming? It affects your output. It affects how effective you can be and things like that. However, a lot of times when we catch our kids listening to something that they shouldn't be listening to, watching something they shouldn't be watching, we try to shun them from it. We try to, hey, don't watch that. We don't explain why they can't watch it. My mom was like, you can't watch Ren and Stimpy. You can't watch Butthead. Simpsons. And I'm just like, it just made me want to watch it more.
Yeah.
Because I was never explained to me why I couldn't watch it or why it's inappropriate. It's always inappropriate. Why? Like, what's wrong with it? I don't see nothing wrong with it, right? I think, we talking about we listen and we don't judge. Take the time to talk to your kid when you see them, you hear them listening to it. So I caught my son listening to I caught him. He was listening to Meet the Grams by Kendrick. He been on Kendrick heavy. Like ever since he been dissing Drake. I'm like, I don't know why you don't like Drake, bro. Like you're 9. Like how you picking sides in this rap beef? But he was listening to Meet the Grams. I'm like, okay, what do you like about this song? What did you hear this song at? And I'm not scolding. I'm not coming at him in a like, man, why you listening to this? Ooh. Nice, calm, have a conversation about it, and you will get to know a lot more about why your kid is listening to certain things, where they getting this stuff from, and just get to know more about where they are. Because a lot of times we look at them like kids who don't know left and right, and they're a lot smarter than what we think. They know a lot more about the world than what we think. And one way to kind of figure them out more is by having like a nice level, calm conversation with them about what their inputs are, what they're listening to, what they're into. That weird video they're watching on YouTube, things like that. All right, so we got a little bit more time. We're going to do a little bit of Patreon. Everybody who, on Patreon, y'all stay tuned. Everybody else watching YouTube, Apple, Spotify, we'll see y'all next week.
What? You didn't do your thing.
Oh, okay. You got anything for them before we get off of the mainstream?
What was AMP? I wasn't really following.
AMP, that's like a segment he do.
That's a segment.
Kind of man's perspective.
It's a segment
but he
from
just,
my podcast before this.
He just give niggas some encouragement to get through life. Okay. And then, I give the boy mom some tip on rape. Because our podcast is all about men, but most men are being raised by women, single women in a lot of situations. So we just try to give the women some tips on, how to raise their young guys and kind of stay in tune with them.
That's cool.
So for sure. Yeah. But if you got anything else you wanna give them, before we go behind the Patreon wall, we're gonna chop it up a little bit more. I know you gotta get up out of here in a second.
No, it's all good. Shit. Patreon wall. Where is it at?
That's just more like the private community.
To the podcast.
For sure.
Podcast world.
For sure. All right, so before we go behind this Patreon wall, man, anything you chasing in life, make sure you keep your foot on the gas, man. Don't let up. Don't let life get in the way of you getting a better life, living a better life, and doing the things that you got to do, man.
Shoot.
It's all God in the cake.